guys, Kenji Sumino here from GReddy Performance. Here we have Mr. Sakamoto's Garage Active GReddyR. So I first met Mr. Sakamoto at JCCS in 2019. We started talking about, SEMA show and like, I would love to come to SEMA. A couple years after pandemic, decided to bring his first dry carbon GTR. From there, fast forward, he already sent his second one in, aired both of them in, and I thought he was crazy, but knew that this guy was really serious. And I think, if you see the level of his builds, it's a little bit different from Japan. I supported him with the first two cars, bringing them in with Toyo tires and storing it here and arranging the cars to go back since the car was here for Carne, so it had to go back within a year. Last year's car, he brought it in, barely made it to the show, and then shipped it right back. He wanted to build another one for SEMA, but instead of having it at Tread Pass, he was wondering if there's a possibility of being in a booth on its own or collab with us. And that pretty much at the end of last SEMA, we kind of, started planning like, that'd be perfect. We started importing a lot of his products for Garage Active products, like the popular items like the rear seat deletes and strut tower bars, and nothing big like Widebody kit, but some of the aero parts, the front lip spoilers. And then from there, our idea of establishing Active USA got more serious, so we're in the process of helping him do that here too. We had some GReddy parts in his previous build. Since we're working on the crate motor program, why don't we handle everything under the hood? He will do all the carbon fiber chassis, finish it off with the suspension and his brakes and everything else, but ship it so that we could finish the whole power plant, right? That's pretty much was the plan from pretty much end of last year. And, we barely finished it to this SEMA, even though we planned it a year ahead. The first one was just clear coated to show the carbon. Second year, car was purple with midnight purple colorway, which was beautiful as well. Okay, well, the next would be the GReddy Blue, the GReddyRX. Since it's the 32, that was the car that Trust put a lot of development, for many years, from supercharged to twin charged to, big twin setup to a drag T88, which was probably the market's biggest turbo back then, and then became one of the iconic JDM R32, and that was the RX. Once we started talking about the color, okay, we have to do the blue, but can you make it so that you could still see the weaves? And since it's blue, let me call Trust Japan and see if he could still use the RX. So Trust is still using the RX on their demo cars, like the 34 that they have, but they haven't done really too much development, but things gonna change with what we're doing here. Trust gave me the green light to do that, even though it was a collaboration with Active and GReddy, but it's gonna be in our, SEMA booth, and we're promoting that whole, effort. So yeah, that was almost a must for me as well. And I was like, just crossing my fingers to make sure Trust Japan was okay with it, and they were just excited about it too, so it all worked out.
The Garage Active kit is considered by many the best wide-body kit ever made for the R32 GTR. It follows the factory lines and accentuates them rather than ruins them, and flows perfectly. They make it in both fiberglass and carbon, but the GReddyR complete builds take it one step further, with the outer skin of the rear guards and the roof completely removed, and remaking them entirely out of carbon fiber. Widened front and rear fenders are matched by carbon front and rear bumpers, as well as side skirts that all line up so that it flows from front to back perfectly. Carbon hood, carbon trunk and wing, everything carbon, which you can see through the blue paint thanks to Sakamoto's painting technique. The Garage Active touch doesn't stop there. There's the SS Active Carbon Group A style mirrors. SS Active RC6 centerlock wheels look incredible, and the SS Active brake kit fills them up. You'll also spot the SS Active titanium muffler up the back. A complete build needs an interior to match the exterior. Carbon Recaro bucket seats and SS Active carbon rear seat delete work surprisingly well with the brown leather retrim. There is a roll cage for safety too. SS active gauges and floor mats, and a Wendelab digital triple gauge cluster. The real attraction with most GTRs though is the engine bay, and it doesn't disappoint. The centerpiece is the GReddy crate motor. 79mm billet stroker crank brings capacity to 2.8 litres with standard bore size. GReddy spec CNC ported cylinder head with Supertech valve train, and GReddy camshafts topped off with the GReddy cam covers with a PRP R35 coil kit in between them. There's also a PRP Pro trigger kit up front, which is part of what's controlled by the Motec M130 ECU package. The turbo is the GReddy Performance Parts GP78R kit. It blows through a GReddy intercooler into a GReddy inlet manifold with a drive-by-wire throttle body, GReddy fuel rail, and GReddy braided fuel lines along with upgraded injectors and fuel pumps. GReddy radiator and oil cooler keeps temps in check, and behind the engine is an OS88 sequential transmission with ATS carbon clutch and upgraded differentials. It hasn't been tuned or tested quite yet, but we're expecting that to start soon, in time for GTR Festival USA.
Very happy with it, and Sakamoto-san is happy. And one of the big difference with this build is we're gonna keep this here. It didn't ship with carnet, so it doesn't have to return within a year. And the whole concept is to promote the Garage Active brand, the products, and also show the car being raced. So we'll be racing it next year. You know, there's a few things that we probably have to update to be able to, you know, go down the track and drag racing or standing half-mile type race. We haven't done that over here for quite some time, so we're excited about it just to show the performance of such build. And I think a lot of the comments in the past couple years was, oh, it looks great, but does it run? You know, and we didn't have the opportunity to do that with him last year, but for this build, that's the whole purpose. So ever since you guys made the announcement at SEMA show about the GTR Fest coming from Australia and bringing even some of the cars, I think is a great opportunity for have the market in the US too, and that will, you know, go viral to the rest of the world. You know, that'd be a perfect place to prepare the car, and we have pretty much a year, right? So he's been doing this for 30 years. And he's still active right now. This weekend he's drag racing. One thing that he's lacking is properly prepped track. It's usually the front straight of a, you know, a circuit race, you know, track, and so he's very excited and pumped, and you know, he's been doing a lot of that drag racing in Japan, but nothing at the US scale, and then nowhere close to the Australian scale. So, you know, he went out to your event last year for the first time, and he's pumped. He knows that, you know, that's a huge wall to even get anywhere close to, but at least this is our start, and he could kind of get his, you know, feel for it, and, you know, possibly he could build a full-on race cars to go challenge the rest of the world too. You know, every little thing, like the way it's put together and the little details that he's put in, it's like amazing. So, you know, I'm honored and excited at the same time to be on such project. And if you pop the hood, you'll see other partners that we're starting to work with, PRP and a few others, and I think we're going to be able to do some big things in the coming years. Definitely a bonus to be working with PRP and even RTech, and it's almost, for me, it's like no-brainer. It's cutting corners to get where we need to go as quickly as possible, and perfect timing. I think for us to be able to start developing certain parts like that, it's going to set us back a couple of years to perfect it, where PRP has already perfected it over the years. And I'm sure it's going to evolve even further. We'll be able to put something together with sharing the info and the knowledge and move forward, instead of taking the time to catch up to the level that you guys are at. And okay, well, you guys got to be progressing even further. So it's like, I want to try to be there together. So it's a great combination, and it's a no-brainer. We can't do this without enjoying it, and I think that's where we keep feeding our passion and learning more and networking and meeting more people to even build something bigger. So it'll be fun.